Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens after you click submit on a request at work? It just seems to vanish, right? And then, like magic, a new laptop shows up, or you suddenly have access to that software you needed. Well, it's not magic. Behind that simple button is this whole unseen system, a super detailed and structured process with a full cast of characters, each playing a critical part. So today, let's pull back that curtain and see who's actually making it all happen.
Yeah, think about it. It feels so simple on our end. You need a new program, or your laptop is finally on its last legs. You fill out a quick form, and bam! A few days later, your problem's solved. But what looks like a simple fix is actually a highly coordinated effort. So, who are these people behind the scenes? Let's meet them.
Okay, so the official name for this whole operation is Service Request Management, or SRM for short. And I want you to focus on that word structured. That's the key. It's the formal, organized process that takes your request for pretty much anything and turns it into reality, hopefully without a hitch.
Now, every single one of these journeys, doesn't matter if it's for a new mouse or access to a top secret project folder, starts in the exact same place. It starts with a person. It starts with you, the user, or in the language of SRM, the requester. Your part in this is absolutely crucial. You can't skip it. You're the one who kicks off the entire workflow by submitting the request in the first place. But just as important, you've got to provide all the required info right up front. I mean, this is what makes or breaks a fast resolution. And then at the very end, you're the one who closes the loop by confirming, yep, I got what I needed and it's all working. So you've hit submit. Your request doesn't just fly into some black hole. No, it lands on the digital doorstep of a very specific team. The service desk. Honestly, you should think of them as the air traffic controllers for every single request coming into the company. Their job is to be that first essential point of contact. They log everything that comes in, make sure it's all categorized correctly, and, now this is the important part, they actually try to fulfill the request themselves right then and there. They are the absolute front line for getting stuff done. And this is where you really see the power of a good service desk. They're not just passing the buck. A really effective service desk fulfills somewhere between 70 and 80% of all requests themselves. Just let that sink in. The huge majority of problems are solved right there at the very first stop. That's incredible. So, let's look at that initial handoff. Step 1, you submit your request with all the necessary details. Step 2, the service desk grabs it, logs it, and puts it in the right bucket. And step 3, they immediately get to work trying to solve it. This whole initial flow is designed for one thing and one thing only: speed. Okay, so what about that other 20 or 30%? What happens when a request is just too complex, or it needs some kind of special security clearance, or someone physically needs to come to your desk? Well, that's when the service desk knows it's time to call for backup. And this is when they loop in the specialists. These are called request fulfillment groups, and they're basically dedicated teams that have the very specific skills or tools or authority needed to handle those trickier tasks. And these teams can cover a whole range of things. You might have desktop support handling that new laptop setup. The access management team is the one granting you permissions to sensitive files. Facilities might get involved if you need a new keycard. And procurement, they're the ones who actually go out and buy the hardware. See? Each one is a very specific, very structured role. All right, let's talk about money for a second. Whenever a request is going to cost the company some cash, especially if it's over a certain amount, a whole new player enters the game: the financial approver. Their role is completely laser-focused. They don't care about every little request. They only step in for the ones that have a price tag and cross a certain cost limit that's been set beforehand. They are the gatekeepers, making sure big expenses are totally justified before a single penny is spent. So we've met the user, the frontline team, the specialists, and the financial gatekeeper. But who's the architect behind all of this? Who designs this entire system and makes sure all these different people and teams can work together without a hitch? Well, say hello to the request manager. Think of it this way. While everyone else is running their leg of the race, the request manager is the person who designed the entire racetrack. They aren't in the day-to-day trenches. Their job is to look at the whole system from 30,000 feet up. This person literally owns the entire practice. They design the very workflows we've been talking about. They set the performance targets, what we call service level agreements, or SLAs, that define how fast things need to get done. And maybe most importantly, they're always looking for ways to make the whole process better, faster, and more automated. And there you have it. What starts as just a simple, I need something from one person gets fed into this complete and, you guessed it, highly structured system. It's a whole network of specialized roles, all working together to get you what you need, efficiently and reliably.
So let's do a quick final roll call of the whole team. You've got the user who kicks everything off, the service desk, your frontline workhorse, the specialist request fulfillment groups, bringing in that deep expertise, the financial approver, watching the budget, and the request manager, steering the whole ship. Every single role is distinct, and every single one is essential. You know, a really great way to picture this whole thing is to think of it like a relay race. The request you make, that's the baton. It starts with you pass it to the service desk, who might then pass it to a specialist, but every single handoff is precise, it's planned, all to get that baton across the finish line as fast as possible. So, why on earth do we go through all this trouble to build such a detailed system? Well, it really boils down to 3 huge benefits. First, you get clarity. Everyone knows exactly what their job is, so nothing falls through the cracks. Second, you get efficiency. Because those roles are so clear, requests just move smoothly from one step to the next. And finally, you get accountability. You always know who is responsible for what at every single stage. And that brings us to our final thought, and maybe the most important question for you. When you look at this detailed, structured system with its crystal clear roles and seamless handoffs, just ask yourself, is your team's workflow this clear?